Well, hello, everybody. I see everybody is popping in. I am Shell Brodnax of RESA, and I am your host. And if you all can just help me check my technology, and anybody or everybody, go ahead and just put in that chat box that 1, you see me, 2, you hear me, and what state are you located? And also, how long have you been in business? Or just type how long have you been in business and the state you're in, and then I'll know that you can see me and that you can hear me. All right, Joanna can hear me. So go ahead and just, if you're on here, just go ahead and type in where you're from and how long you've been in business, because it's going to help us kind of gauge the audience. Great. Michelle in Dallas, 6 years. Jennifer from Colorado just got started. Good for you. You're in the right place, Jen. All right. So as people are trickling in, I want to introduce my co-host today. I am super excited to have the beautiful and the talented entrepreneur, Debbie Boggs of Staging Studio. Welcome.
Hi, I'm so glad to be here. This is exciting. It's fun to be with new stagers, people just joining, and a lot of people who have been staging for a while come to this as well, and it is just a delight.
Yes, it is. It's nice to be with like-minded people, and what I love about these webinars, especially the newbie ones, is I really like helping other people. And I love it when I see some really great questions. And then I love the feedback afterwards, because we're often able to solve a lot of problems. So I like to be the problem solver.
Me too. That's why we started Staging Studios, because we love helping people get going in this business. I see we have people from Rhode Island. Hi, Kristen and Kate in Indianapolis. Susan in DC, from people from all over the place. Houston.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I know whenever we do this and we call out to people, it's like, I feel like you're Miss Marianne. And I know probably there's a good percentage of people on this call who don't know who Miss Marianne is. But she used to host a show called Romper Room when I was a little kid. And she had a little mirror that she'd look in and she'd say, and I see Jimmy and Joanna and Christina. And it was just the best thing ever when you were a little kid to see somebody saying your name. It's just that she happened to say a name that happens to be yours at the same time. But
never said my name.
Michelle with 2 L's or Michelle with 1 L?
I love seeing all these names, because a lot of times I'll go, oh, wait, I know that person. Or I know, Rhode Island, my daughter lives in Rhode Island. So I'm always very intrigued to see where everybody's coming from. And it's so fun to see how, we'll get people from all over the world on here, and all that are part of this community and sharing perspectives and knowledge. It's the greatest community.
Yep, absolutely. And Mar Johnson says that Miss Marianne lived in her hometown. So I just loved her, just always did. So I love doing this, is the point of all of this. So what we're going to do is we've taken questions ahead of time. So we put them on a PowerPoint slide. I will read the question. I might ping off an answer. Debbie can also respond. There's going to be a couple questions in here. I'm going to divert directly to her, as you will be able to tell that staging is very right brain, left brain. And one of those hemispheres of the brain with regard to staging, I'm not so much a fan of. So when it comes to any type of design questions, the color, all of that, I'm going to turn it over to Debbie. I'm more of the business and analytical soul right here, because if somebody asked me to come hang artwork in their house, I'm going to put a hole in your wall. So without further ado, let's just get started and see how many people we can help. And after we're done through these questions, we'll open it up and we'll answer any other questions that you might have. Awesome. So first question, as a house flipper, would it be beneficial for me to stage my own houses? I love the design aspect. So I want to jump in on this, and I'll kick it to you, Debbie. I would say that it's important that it's staged. I actually just created a slide about an hour ago. I'm going to try to remember exactly what I had on the slide, but if you are a flipper, you've spent all your money on investment property and you're going to flip that. If you don't stage it, it's just as bad as not finishing the kitchen. It makes zero sense, in my opinion, whatsoever, to become an investor, to flip real estate, and you do all these great renovations and these upgrades, and then you just list it vacant. It's like, where's the cherry on top? Where's the icing on the cake of the concept? And staging is just, it's finishing merchandising that product that you just invested in. So whether you stage it yourself if you have an inclination to stage and you know how to do design, you understand color and art and scale and lighting, and you have the resources to do it, I say do it. If you don't have those types of resources, then I say hire somebody and work with a professional stager on your team. Debbie, what's your opinion?
Yeah, well, so I actually have flipped homes myself. And the thing is that flipping is really, it's staging. It's staging on steroids, but a lot of the time, some of those homes that really, where you could see a dramatic increase in the value of it, is just some minor cosmetic things, some paints, a few light fixtures. It doesn't always have to be the full on remodel to get it to just where somebody can have vision. That's all staging is about, is giving people vision for being able to see the value in a place. And so absolutely, I mean, that's what you're trying to do as a flipper, is to see that big increase. And staging is going to be the least cost for it, the biggest, most dramatic difference. So absolutely, yes, there's a lot of crossover, a great marriage between the two skills, the two business models of flipping and staging. Absolutely. Absolutely, you should be staging those. Mhm.
You nailed it. Okay, so what's the best way to market to real estate agents? Debbie, why don't you take this one first?
Okay, so one thing is teaching lunch and learns CE classes, but the other really big thing right now is social media. If you're not really taking advantage of every social media channel that you can't do all of them. Pick one or two. Facebook is probably the number one. That's where most realtors hang out. More and more Instagram is being that. And that's a natural fit for stagers because you have all of these beautiful photos. That's what Instagram is all about, is beautiful photos. But the main thing is just connecting there. And the big key to that social media is focusing local. That means it's really clear on your website, on your social media profiles, the exact areas that you serve. Part of it is we're trying to help Google find us, help Google help other people find you. And so you don't want somebody off in another area, they're Googling and using up those ad dollars and using up that search engine optimization, finding you when you're not even serving that area. You want people that are in your area finding you, and then really becoming a part of that social media community in your area, where you're networking, where you're following the agents that you want to work with, commenting on their stuff, engaging in their things, putting a question on their post, all of those things, so that they're noticing you. You don't even have to post stuff yourself all the time. You can be commenting on their stuff and they notice you. But I get that social media is a difficult thing for a lot of us. It's a big time sucker. So that's one of the things that we try to make things. We're all about making things easier for you at Staging Studio. That's what we're here to do. So we have a social media package that includes a bunch of those posts, emails to go with it, all of that stuff, make it really easy for you. So I would say social media right now, especially in this time of COVID when we can't all meet face to face as much, social media is where it's at for getting to network and find those agents. And I think we have a question late. Well, you have it in your notes. We'll get to that in a minute when we talk about investors and builders.
Oh, for sure. So I would agree with everything you said. You really hit the nail on the head, so to speak. I would also say I personally like the infiltration method. So for what I mean by that is I want y'all to make yourself more attractive to a real estate agent and elevate yourself to a higher level. And there's a couple ways that you can do that. One, I call it networking volunteerism. Get involved in a RESA chapter, number one. Get involved in your local association of realtors, number two. And if you're going to dedicate your time to something, and the local association of realtors, because they will often have a fundraiser during the year. They might have a crab feed. They might have a fashion show. They could have any type of fundraiser. Try to get on that committee, the fundraising or the committee for any type of event that they have. Or if they have their weekly meetings or monthly meetings, get on a hospitality committee, because then you're meeting every single person that comes in the door. If you're just checking them into the meeting, get a badge with your company name completely branded with your name on it, and you're meeting every single person that comes in the door. So infiltrate and become one of them. And number 2 is to do the CE classes. So that is super important, to be able to elevate yourself as a real estate instructor, because here's the key. Your website is really key when you're marketing to people, because they're going to come to your website and they're going to see who you are and what you're about. So if you can put all your credentials from your training that you've had on your website, your amazing portfolio should always be professional photography. And then number 3, if you elevate yourself as a real estate instructor, you'll have your speaking page on your website. So when a agent looks at you for the first time, they don't know that you've only been in business for 2 years. But what they do know is that you have an amazing portfolio and that you're educated and you know what it is that you're doing. And you're also now elevated as a real estate instructor. Now, when you teach CE classes, it's not about marketing you in the slightest bit. In fact, it's the complete opposite. So you market yourself by not marketing yourself. So you're in a class, you're an instructor, and you're just giving from your heart. You're giving pure education. It comes back tenfold. You don't need to tell them about every individual nuance about your individual business. You don't need to talk about that. You can tell anecdotal stories, but it's not a presentation about you. It's just pure education. And for me, that is my best method of marketing. Debbie, don't you guys have a CE class?
Yes, we do. And you're absolutely right. And, right now you can offer CE through Zoom. It doesn't have to be an in-person meeting. So that's one option. But yes, every way that you can get in front of agents and show yourself to be the expert, teaching CE is the best way to do that.
Yep.
And then what we always say is plow deep rather than wide. So hitting that same group of people, those same agents from every direction, always being in front of them. So they're seeing your name somehow every week, whether that's in an email or in a CE class or in a handwritten note or at an event or whatever it is. They are a social media post. You're constantly in front of them, so that when they do have that listing come up that needs staging, they all need staging. We know that, but they don't always know that. But when they have that listing, you're right there in front of them. They don't have to go searching for you because they're gonna see you right then. So your name is always top of mind.
Yeah, absolutely. So RESA, we also have a CE class where we vet instructors, so you can become one if you've been in business for more than a year. We have one. Debbie's Staging Studio has one. We don't care which one you do. Just do something. Just educate. This is really about educating real estate agents. And the more and more we can educate real estate agents, the better our industry is going to be. Felicia just showed me today, in the social media group, Stage It Forward, a real estate agent wanted to join. And we asked a question, how did you hear about us? And they said from NAR, from the National Association of Realtors. So the more and more exposure that we can get for our industry, the better it is for everybody. I just cannot reiterate that. So just educate on the local level. It's going to come back tenfold, and it actually changes. You have control over changing the actual climate of how real estate staging is viewed on your local level.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
All right, Debbie, this is all you. Can you please cover the best paint colors for staging? And do you offer a cheat sheet?
Yes, we actually do. I think Anders will put a link here in the comments to a sheet that has our top 20 whites, because whites are a great color to be using right now for staging. I mean, they're very much on trend, and of course, neutral. So, and light, buyers love light and bright. And so whites are just, especially right now, the perfect color to be using. The thing about whites though is they are a color. You can't just say, oh, just paint it white. And I can't tell you how many times we have an agent call us and say, please, you got to just tell me the name of a white paint color that I can do. And because we've got the painter coming in tomorrow, and it's an emergency. It's always an emergency. We do not do it. We tell them, sorry, we will not give you a paint color over the phone, because every paint color, even white, has undertones in it. There's blue whites, there's creamy whites, there's pink whites. They all have some kind of undertone in them. And you've got to be able to read that undertone and be able to match that to the undertones that are in the space. So never give a paint color over the phone. It will come back to bite you. Come and do it in the space. Plus, they're not going to pay you for that paint consultation when you do it over the phone. But knowing those undertones, being able to see those, and that is such a key skill in staging. A lot of times, paint is one of the big things that we're doing as a stager is recommending those paint colors. And so if you, in the Staging Design Professional Expert course, we have an entire module about color, because it is such an important part of staging, not just the paint on the walls, but the colors in the furnishings and everything, and in the hard surfaces, how those work together. And because we really believe that that's an important foundational element of being a great stager. So that's in the Staging Design Professional course. If you want to take it to another level and you're doing color consultations, then I highly recommend the Master Color Consultant course. That's really going to prepare you for that. But in the meantime, check out that. You go to our website and get that cheat sheet that has our favorite 20 whites, and it kind of tells you a little bit about each of those, the best uses for each of those colors that we recommend in there.
Yep, absolutely. And Andres just posted the link, so you can also look in the chat box for that link. And I cannot tell you how important it is to get color correct. My dad's live in like what looks like an art museum. It is decorated so beautifully. And I walk into his kitchen and I see these colors on the wall a few years ago. And I said, oh, I have to have this. He gives me all the lists, because everybody always asks them for their color scheme for their house. And I go home. So, all right, we're getting ready to sell, and I have to fix this kitchen because it's horrible. And I go in and I paint it this color. And afterwards they're like, yeah, what happened? I'm like, is this the same color? It didn't even look the same. Nothing was correct. I actually got a color consult. The person that I did it with was actually able to do a really great job through FaceTime. I turned on all the lights. It was, middle of the day. We lit up the house so she could really see it. And she was able to correct my mistake, but it's costly. I'd already paid for the paint. I had the labor in painting everything. And it was tragic to have to do it more than once. It's one thing that you don't want to mess up on.
It is so expensive. It's such a big mistake. 40% of paint sold is wrong the first time. And that's one thing to do it for your own home, but it's really, really embarrassing to make that kind of a mistake for your client. And I mean, what do? You eat that when you give them the wrong color. So that's why you really need to get that training and be able to see those undertones and pick the exact perfect color every time.
Yep, absolutely.
And it's one of the fun things about staging too.
Fun for you, not fun for me. I don't like that sort of thing.
Well, that's the thing. Staging is not for everybody.
It's not for me. Nothing good's going to happen. I can do it. Let me preface this by saying I can do it. It's just not what makes me super happy. I mean, when I sold my home, we hired a stager. She's a RESA member, Sacramento area. It's like, no, just let me write a check, man, and just do it. I don't care. I don't want to know anything. I actually paid her. We left, and a few days later, I saw it when she sent me the pictures. That's the way I like to do business.
That's the way.
Find somebody. I'm the perfect client for a stager. Just get out of town and write me a check, and don't complain about anything. So that's what happened.
Well, it's not for everybody, but for all of you there who love design, love decorating, love watching, you're addicted to HGTV. You want to be your own boss. You want to control your own time and your own schedule. And you just, people come in your house and they love how it looks and are always asking you for decorating advice. If any of that is true about you, then staging is a great fit for you. But like any skill, you need to develop it and get training and really be able to hone those skills and be a huge success in staging. But if any of that is true for you, then you're in the right place.
Yep, absolutely. So here's a great question. Does RESA or Staging Studio offer any pre-made items to use as a lead magnet? Actually, RESA's the best thing that you can use for a lead magnet that RESA offers is the Consumer's Guide to Real Estate Staging.
Mhm.
There's several different covers to be able to choose from, and use that as a lead magnet. I think it works great. Debbie, what do y'all have?
So first of all, there may be a lot of people who are new in business and don't even know what we're talking about when we say lead magnet.
Very true.
What that is just it's just something that is attractive to your ideal client. It's something of value that they might want that you can give them in exchange for their email address, and it could be something like a moving checklist or a showing checklist. Those are some of the things that some of those lead magnets that are included in the Staging Design Professional course. It could be like in our color course, there's lead magnets in there for favorite colors or top front door colors, things like that. Anything that the people that you're wanting to have as clients, anything that they would see as value and would be willing to give their email address for. So it's just a simple, it's usually like a PDF or something. So yes, we have a number of those lead magnets that are included in our courses, and if for example, short-term rental styling, Airbnb styling. So we have lead magnets in there that you can put out there to capture the email addresses of Airbnb hosts. So what you do is you offer that thing, they give you their email address. Now you've got a way to stay in touch with them and to be sending them emails, sending them more things of value, demonstrating your skill and your knowledge, your expertise, and just a way to be in front of them. So capturing that email address. So it's a great question and something that all of you as business owners need to be aware of is how to use those lead magnets. But yes, RESA has that one. That's a great one, and we have a number of them as well. Most of them are included in our courses that we offer.
And I will add to that, once you get their email address and then you put them on a drip campaign, make your drip campaign fun. You got to remember, people that are going to use you might only use you once every so many years, depending on if they moved out of the area, if they're continuing to move to different homes in an area. So it's great that they got on your list, but make it fun to keep it on their list. So articles, anybody that's going to sign up for your list is going to be somebody who's probably going to want articles on color, on design, on DIY projects. So write those short articles and keep them going throughout the year. That way you're top of mind. They're still on your mailing list. And then when they know somebody in your area, they can refer you.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
So how to get staging business with low home inventory and ways to build a business in this type of market. I will let you start out with this one.
Yeah, so I mean, we are in most of the country in a really hot market. Homes are turning over really fast. And so, saying, oh, you're going to sell your house in less time with staging is probably not going to be a big motivator for most people right now. But they do want to get the most that they can for their home. And sellers have got really high expectations currently for how much they're going to get for their property. And so you've got to help that agent squeeze out every single penny of that potential profit. There are huge potential profits for sellers right now. So we want to make sure that they get every bit of it. Here's the thing that we're seeing in the market is that since there is very low inventory, since there are not enough homes to go around, buyers are desperate. And so they're making snap decisions. They're, they've got their wish list of what they're wanting in a house, but they realize they're not going to get it all. So they're having to settle. They're compromising, and they're just jumping on the first thing that comes on the market. and it may not really be their dream home, but it's good enough. And then comes the inspection, and it comes back with some negative things, and they kind of go, and then the appraisal comes in lower. They find out they've got to bring more money to the table, or whatever it is. All of those other negotiations, all of those other hurdles that this deal has got to get past. And there's too many times in there. Or maybe they see after sometime before it closes, they see their dream home. They have an opportunity to find the one that they really love. So they don't have that emotional connection to this property that will keep them and sustain them through that entire process. So what staging does is helps them stay with it, keeps that emotional connection to get them all the way to the closing table. We're seeing so many deals. Yes, they're going under contract fast, but so many of those deals are falling apart, and it takes 2 or 3 offers, contracts to get it all the way, to get the deal all the way done. So that's one important thing that staging does. I had another thought on that just went right through my brain. Oh, I know what it is. The other thing is that since homes are turning over so fast right now, if a home hasn't been staged and it doesn't show perfectly and it doesn't sell in that first weekend right now, 1 week right now on the market is stale. So something sits there for a few days or few weeks, people start going, wonder what's wrong with it. Wonder why that didn't sell. So that whole evolution that homes on the market go through, that cycle is way shortened right now. So that first weekend on the market has got to be pow. It's got to hit with everything.
Yep, absolutely. Could not agree more. In fact, this weekend, I know somebody who made an offer on a house here where I live, and it's a nice home. It's dated. It needs some work, but homes are just flying off the market here. I mean, even when they're not staged, they certainly don't have the repairs and everything that needs to be done in order to really prepare the home for sale properly. And she made an offer on it. And then what ended up happening after 24 hours, she started thinking about those maintenance items that weren't really taken care of, and fear of what the home inspector was going to find. And she pulled out of it. Was excited about the home, but was settling exactly the scenario you said. She was settling because she wasn't going to get everything it was that she wanted. She has dogs that didn't even have a yard. That's how excited she was about this, and because everything was going. And I was there with her looking at the home, and 3 people came as we were there looking at it. 3 other families came to look at it. So we knew there was going to be lots of offers. And she got excited, wanted to get in on it, even though she knew she was settling. Again, didn't even have a yard for the dogs. It's like, where are you going to put these little rat terrier things that are running around? They're going to split if you don't have a fence. But she got caught up in it, made the offer, and then ended up pulling out of it after she started thinking about it for a while.
And then what happens is so now everybody knows that there was an offer, that it was under contract, and it fell through. And so the question for everybody is, wonder what they figured out. Wonder what was wrong with it. There has to be something wrong with it, So it puts that negative on there.
Absolutely. And I will say too, if you're really seriously just starting out right now, depending on where you're at in the starting out process, you don't necessarily want to worry about getting business right now. Get all your ducks in a row. Get your education. If y'all are not educated, you don't know what you don't know. And how you find out about what you don't know, you are not going to like it. So you've got to get educated up front, because things just tend to really unravel. So you need to get your ducks in the row, get that foundation, get some great professional photography of your work in your own home, in a friend's home, in your mother's home, your sister's home, your neighbor's home. Get something done so you can get great photography to put on your website. You don't have to have a full portfolio or even a portfolio page on your website at this point when you're first starting out. Just sprinkle those great photos strategically throughout the pages of your website to be able to show the after product and make your website look amazing. So get all your ducks in a row, get your contracts handled. We just did a survey, State of the Industry survey, where I think it came back that only 85% of stagers were using contracts. I was horrified. It should be 100. So get everything ready. So COVID's starting to clear up. And once it does, you need to be able to hit the ground running. So that's my add-on for this question.
Absolutely. Well, let me piggyback on that there. One of the things that we see with a lot of stagers is kind of this imposter syndrome of, I don't know if I've got what it takes. I don't know if I should be doing this. Could I succeed and everything? The thing is, those people don't bother me. Those people don't worry me at all. I think you will be a success. The people that I'm worried about are the people that don't have an imposter syndrome. The people who think, I got this. I don't need any help. I don't need any training. I know what I'm doing. Okay, those are the people who are going to make the big mistakes. When you don't know what you don't know, and we all need this community. We need RESA and the resources that are provided, and the education that's provided, and we need each other, the community. Being able to go in our Facebook group and on Staging Studio Society and be able to ask any question. I guarantee you there's not one single thing that you can come up with that somebody else in that group has not, or probably a bunch of people in that group have not already been through. And they can walk you through that. They can give you the answers to whatever is challenging you. So it's okay to not feel like you've got all the answers. We are here we've got what you need. We've got answers for you. We've got the support for you. And that's the staging community is so supportive. I just love it. I love the relationships, the community, and how we're all there for each other.
Yeah, I could not have said that better myself. And you're preaching to the choir, girl.
Well, I know, because you started. Hey, by the way, congratulations.
And what?
It's your anniversary, recent anniversary, right?
RESA's 14 years old this month.
That's awesome.
April 2007 is when RESA was first launched. So yeah, it's been a while.
Okay, so you guys, thank God for RESA, because you have no idea what it was like for all those stagers before there's groups like RESA to be that support. We're living in a time we're so blessed to have that. So thank you, Shell, and to all of you who have done so much to start and grow this RESA community. Really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for saying so. I appreciate it. In fact, we the team just did a video before this about the 14th anniversary and how and why we were founded. And I look back and it's like, he said imposter syndrome. And I'm like, I know what that is. I get it. And back in the day, it was like, I was like, how am I going to do this? I had fair share of people telling me, you'll never do it. It'll never work. You will never get all the different designations under one roof. You are never going to get all the education providers to be on the same website, let alone come to a convention and talk to each other. And then it was like, game on, we're making this happen. Somebody tells me I can't do something, it's probably pretty sure you're sealing the deal that I'm going to do it. But I mean, obviously I didn't do it by myself. All the training providers at that point came together and said, Shell, we support you to do this venture. And so just so everybody realizes, I do not own this company. It's actually a nonprofit. So I don't own it. My bosses are the board of directors. So anybody can be on the board of directors if you run. So we are a true 501c3 trade association, tax exempt nonprofit organization. I know that's a lot of words, but it definitely means something because members have a lot of say so in what it is that we do. So I thank all the members and all the leaders over the last 14 years that have stepped up to dedicate their time to change their industry. Because what they do on the local level rises up to the top And it's just been an amazing time for me, and love doing it. And we've definitely got some more things. The industry grows, and looking forward to hoping makes everybody happy. So there you go.
Well, and one of the big things about it being a nonprofit is that it's unbiased, it's independent. So when RESA accredits a course or a training provider, let me tell you, they put them through their paces. It's not just oh, you showed up. It's no, I mean, Shell goes deep into vetting every single thing in those courses. It was rigorous. It was serious. So when they say that a course is accredited, that is really an important designation.
Yeah,
Really
I would agree. Just so everybody knows, we're getting off topic, but this is actually important for everybody, especially if you haven't chosen a training provider yet. The reason that we started the accreditation program, because way back when there was this little company called Haverhill, or Haverhill as I like to call them, and they had really, really deep pockets, and they advertised on HGTV, and they were very get rich quick oriented. So they came in and they just took the industry by storm. I mean, they ripped off just thousands of people. I mean, just thousands of people saw it on HGTV. Let me get this. I'm going to get a job. They said they can get a job with them. There's just all kinds of crazy stuff that they did. And what ended up happening was I kept getting phone calls here at RESA asking me to step in and do something. I'm like, I don't even know who y'all are talking about. Eventually I found out, and it was unfortunate because there was nothing that we could do because they're not regulated by RESA. They can do whatever they want. They're their own independent company. And I thought at that point in time, I'm like, I will never sleep again unless I fix this problem or attempt to fix it in our industry. So I said to myself, well, what is it that we can do? So I researched the post-collegiate secondary education system through the U.S. Department of Education guidelines. And I mimicked what they do when they accredit schools, like a trade school, if you're a medical assistant, or if you are, I don't know, maybe a paralegal might follow under that, or some sort of trade, and they have to meet these standards. So I said, okay, let's do this. So it took like a little over a year to write the actual program, but Debbie is right. We asked some serious questions. I mean, we want to know what their policies are, their procedures, their refund policies. How do they handle things with their staff internally? Do they get customer satisfaction surveys? And great to get it, but then how often do you and your team review those surveys? How often do you have strategic planning meetings for your company? I mean, there's just all kinds of information in addition to teaching the 61 standards of topics that must be taught if you are going to try to teach somebody how to start a staging business. Now, how everybody teaches those topics, we leave the creativity up to the individual provider. But this has been a game changer for a lot of people, because even most organizations, when they want to submit to be accredited, they actually have to go through the application and they have to take a step back, because it's called a self-discovery application, which ends up making that training provider, that education provider, a stronger provider, because many of the times they haven't thought of these certain things that we ask them to think about. And so they have to write those procedures into what it is that they do. So it's been a great program. And something's happening with my computer here. I'm sorry, as things are popping up and I'm trying to get back to my slide. There we go. So can everybody see the poll? I think everybody can see the poll. Can you see it, Debbie?
I clicked it away. There
Okay.
it is.
What's on there? So the question was asked, have you completed core training? And 65% yes, 18% still in training, 18% no. And have you done your first home staging? Half and half. About half and half. So that's awesome. All right. Thanks for doing that, Joanna or Felicia.
Yeah, thank you. So it's interesting. We've got a wide range of people, some who've been staged, some not, some trained, some not.
That is good. So next question, let's talk inventory. How much inventory would you recommend investing if you're just getting random jobs? This is a question, I think it's probably really hard to answer, because it just depends on how fast you want to grow and what is it that you want to do. So it's not necessarily that you're getting random jobs, it's that do you have enough inventory to do the jobs that you are getting? And only you would be able to really answer that. Debbie, you might have a little bit more in-depth answer than I would have.
Yeah, so this is one of the great things about staging as a career choice, because you get to choose the business model that you want, that fits you, that fits your financial situation, that fits your lifestyle situation, that fits your skills and your passions. You get to design it to fit you. And so it sounds like to me, if you're just getting random jobs, that you're probably not full all in full time marketing your business. Uh, but you can, that's okay. You can build that way. You can start small and gradually build it as you go. Or you can jump all in and take out a line of credit and buy inventory and go, do that. Whatever works for you. But if you just want to grow gradually, then I would say buy for the specific job, but not specifically what it fits that house. You need to buy smart. You need to buy those items that are going to be workhorses that are going to work in every home. And there's definitely some tricks to that. Again, it goes back to training. We teach you exactly what pieces to buy, what colors, what types, what shapes and sizes, and how to get pieces that will do a multitude of functions for you. But some specifics there are: buy lightweight, don't buy a sleeper sofa. Buy things that are light colored, because a lot of the time we're trying to brighten up a room, make it lighter. Solids, not patterns, because those come in and out of style. They're too hard to work with. So keep your foundation pieces neutral. Anyway, we go into much more about how to buy your inventory in the course. But yes, you can start off with just buying the pieces as you go. Just make sure that they're the right pieces that are going to keep working for you through a lot of different jobs.
And I will add to that, when the kidney bean shaped sofa is on sale, pass. That's all I have to say on that.
Yes.
Just saying.
Yep.
Not that I know anything about that personally.
Oh, it can be fabulous, but then it's really hard to move and store, and it only stays in style for a little while. It only fits in a couple of rooms. Yeah.
Just one home. That's all it lasted. Just the one home. And it was, after it was in there, it was like, well, that's pretty hideous. I don't know what I was thinking.
Oh.
So yeah. Just my first attempt at staging a vacant home and going out and buying inventory. And I went with what was on sale. It was kidney bean shaped, and it was never used again. It was horrible. How do you find investors and builders to market to? Why don't you take the lead on this one as well?
Okay, so this goes back to networking, particularly through social media, but all kinds of other ways. Generally, wherever real estate agents are, you will also find investors and builders. So those real estate industry events are great places to go. Social media. Investors hang out online in a space called bigger. I'm going to say it wrong. Bigpockets.com, and that's kind of a good place to interact with them. Somebody says it is Bigger Pockets. I got it wrong. But that's a good place to connect with investors. Also, in a local, again, go back to local investor groups. Find a Facebook group for investors or builders in your area. If there's not one, create one. And then you can be the expert of that investor group. You're the one who controls that and gets people going in there. And then they're going to look to you as the leader, because you are the leader of that group. Facebook groups for builders and investors, going to the same places that real estate agents go. Those are a couple of the big things. And then offering, again, a lead magnet that they would want. Investors, a lot of those investors, they're doing short-term rentals. That's a big market. Airbnb is a hot market, and styling those Airbnb rentals is a great offering that you can add to your services. And so connecting with them, giving those hosts and investors something, a lead magnet that they might be interested in, like a list of must-have amenities in your Airbnb, things like that. And again, in our short-term rental styling course, we've got some of those lead magnets already done for you. But just finding where they are and going to where they are.
Yep. Could not said it better myself, so I will not add to it. I always like to hear how anything about how to price staging services. So
Okay.
this is something that we could talk about for days, but I'm just going to break down the bottom line to everything. You can have a formula to determine your end price, and there's a myriad of ways to do that. Ultimately, you have to understand how your financials work. So what is it worth it for you? What do you want your profit margin to be? So you have to take all of your costs, and then you have to add on pricing, a fee that's going to make it worth it for you to get out of bed in the morning and go do a job. So there are simple ways to do it. Some people say 1% of list price. Somebody might say so much cents per square foot or so many dollars per square foot. It really doesn't matter what your formula is if it's not going to make you a profit. So you really need to look at your bottom line when you're doing that. It's just really important to really dissect all of your hard costs and then again add on. So I know stagers that do things that are just so simple as the fact that they know on every job, in order for them to be able to make it worth it, they need to clear, and I'm just going to use a roundabout number, $1,000 is what they need. So they take all of their cost, every single thing that they can imagine to do that job, and they add on $1,000, and it's that simple. And people just do it a myriad of ways. So you always need to reflect on what is your bottom line and what do you need to be able to make a profit. Debbie?
So this is the question that we get more than any question. It's the hardest thing in staging. We get that because it was the hardest thing for us in our own business, but we worked at it. We came up with those formulas. We really wrestled with it and figured out what would work. And so we're actually coming out with a pricing course very, very soon. And it is a big jam-packed, because it is, like you said, we could talk for days about pricing and all the different formulas and ways to come about it. But the bottom line is, like Shell was saying, it's all about profit. So you've got to either figure out how to keep your expenses really low, and one of the big ways of that is buying wholesale. Shout out to the RESA buying group for that. That makes that way easier, and gets you the much better prices by being part of that. And so buying wholesale, and then finding that perfect sweet spot of pricing where your prices are low enough that people want to hire you, but high enough that you're making a profit. And there definitely is a lot of strategy and crunching of numbers that goes into that. And it's just too big of a topic for us to really get into deep here, which is why we created a whole course on that that's about to come out. But, some of the ways that you just mentioned, Shell, a lot of people price per square foot. I would really not recommend that, because you don't know when you're walking into a space, it may be a tiny house and they may be hoarders and have all kinds of problems. Mm-hmm. Or it may be a huge 10,000 square foot house that's been professionally designed and decorated, and it barely looks lived in, and everything's perfect. And, you move one little vase around or something, and so the square footage really is not a big determining factor. Usually there's so much else. I mean, it is a determining factor, but it is not at all the only one. The same as the list price. The list price, you could have $1 million home in one area that is a shoebox, or you could have $1 million home in another area that is this huge, monstrous McMansion. And so one of them takes way less furnishings, but it's the same price. So percentage of list price probably doesn't work that well either. So there's I can tell you a lot of ways that don't work, and then the ways that do work. And so I would really recommend that you take a pricing course on that.
Absolutely. Okay, wanting information for Canadian members who want to be part of the buying group, go to resabuyinggroup.com and sign up. If you are a RESA member, it is free for RESA members. Right now, it is only restricted as a benefit for RESA members. And I have a slide in a few slides that's going to talk a little bit more about that, so I will hold off on that one.
Mhm. I will also say on that, with our wholesale buying course, we have includes our vendor, actually in the staging design professional course as well. It includes our vendor list. And we actually, because we get this question a lot, we actually now have a little Canadian maple leaf on the vendors, noting the vendors that deal in Canada as well, because we know that it's sometimes confusing to find which ones work where.
Yep, absolutely. So, what is the best way to secure consultation projects? Here's the thing with consults, and I know when people are just starting out, I think a lot of stagers get overwhelmed because I think I have to be doing vacant stagings right out the door. In reality, you really don't. And in reality, there are so many stagers that start out doing consultations, and then they move to occupieds, and then they move to vacant. So staging is a great, it's a great profession because you can jump in at any one of these service levels. If you want to just jump into the vacants, buy wholesale and finance your wholesale purchases. R&J Financial works with RESA, and they will finance it for you. So they finance it like they're doing like office equipment, or if you owned a gym and you were going to go out and you had to buy 50 treadmills, they finance it in the same way, and they do that for RESA members. So it's a great way to do it. If you are that confident and that's what you want to go out and do, you can do that. If you just want to start out small, if sometimes people still are working, and if you're still working full time, it's going to be rather difficult to go out and to source everything for a vacant staging, especially because agents need them done like that. So you might want to start out doing consultations. Start out doing a consultation as that is your niche. Start out making that as your only thing it is that you do, and be known for that. And then you can kind of expand as things go on. The good thing about consultation projects is that there's very little overhead. You've got a website to design, you already have a phone, you already have a computer, you need fuel in your vehicle to get you to and from. And especially if you do the verbal consultations, or people call them a walk and talk, and you don't go back home and do a whole written consultation, very, very low overhead. So they can actually be pretty lucrative. What do you say on this one?
Yeah, that's how we started out. We started out, really, our vision when we started staging was that we were just going to do those consultations. And we did that for a while. And then people started asking us, do you do vacant staging? And we would go, yeah. And
Sure.
we're available next week for that, because we needed that lead time that week to shop and buy the stuff. And that's a great way to do that and build your business and grow naturally with it. Yeah.
Absolutely. What is the best course for learning the business side of staging? So here's the thing. For myself, it would not be ethical for me to rate the courses over what is the best or the worst or anything along those lines. So as you can tell, the RESA has done an accreditation. So we recommend that you go to the education tab on the RESA website. You're going to get a drop-down menu, choose home staging training. All the logos on the top are the accredited providers. They're the ones that have gone through our grueling process where they're cussing and hating me afterwards. But they're so glad that they did it, because it makes them stronger, makes everything better in the world. So go there, click on everybody's logo, read about what they have to offer, follow through to their websites, cross off anybody on the list for whatever reason. If it doesn't appeal to you, make sure you call everybody, interview them. They're all great providers. It's not necessarily that maybe one does anything better than the other one. They've all met our standards. So you are ultimately going to vibe with one maybe versus the other. Other things to think about is, how do you learn? So there are some courses that are online, and there are some courses that are in person. So if you have a home environment that is conducive to online learning, that might be great to be able to do that. But if your home is dog peed on the floor, when's dinner happening? She's staring at me, he hit me, where are my roller skates? Where's my mitt? You might just want to get a skate for 3 to 5 days and go on a trip and go do staging training in person. So really think about how it is that you learn, what your needs are. I don't recommend that you necessarily choose something that's right there in your backyard for your geography. If it meets all your needs, bam, then you are in it to win it and you're one of the lucky people. Many people do have to travel to get to a staging training, and that's perfectly acceptable and it's normal and it's always worth it. And then, of course, Debbie, how can people reach you for your staging class?
So just go to stagingstudio.com. And they can find all of our courses and everything there. I think exactly what Shell said. There are so many great staging providers, training providers out there, and the ones definitely want one that has been accredited. And then, and all of those are going to give you that great business background. The thing is finding the people you want to learn from, somebody that you resonate with, that you can relate with, and that you like their style, and you look at their website and see if they've got kind of the look and the style and the vibe that you're looking for. If lists out what they're going to teach you, and if that's what got the things that you're looking for. But it should, any stage or training program you take, it should have a very comprehensive background in business, and Staging Studios training definitely does.
Absolutely. All right, so here are some of the training providers. You see Staging Studio is up here. We also have what's called affiliate staging education providers. These are the ones on the bottom half of the slide. They're also on the bottom half of the website as well. It doesn't mean that they're not just as good. It means that we cannot accredit them because they have not gone through our process. So check everybody out, make the decision that is best for you. This is the RESA buying group. We had a couple questions up top in the chat that we actually missed, so I want to circle back around to that. In Canada, anybody who's a RESA member, you can join the RESA buying group. What this does is this allows you to get additional discounts of something that you can't get if you walked in on your own. So for example, Olex. You're going to go into Olex. They're going to have a minimum order that you have to place before you can get their stocking dealer pricing. But if you're a RESA member, you get 25% off stocking dealer prices the second that you log onto their website, and that you are designated as a RESA buying group member. All of the different vendors offer different types of savings in addition to either their designer or their stocking dealer or their wholesale pricing. And you can, even if you're in Canada, you can order from anybody. The shipping is what kills you. So right now, Renwell is in Canada. Zuo is in Canada. I know there's another one I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, and I cannot, and I apologize for that. But if you go there, you will be able to see where everybody's located on our website, resabuyinggroup.com. You just need your RESA number in order to join and log in. You can see all of the providers, and you can see every single offer it is that they will offer you. And Debbie, you have you have a wholesale buying class?
Yes, we do. We do this. It walks you through exactly the process of setting up those vendor accounts. If you're physically going to market, navigating the market, what questions to ask the vendors, how to negotiate that best price. Of course, one of the big things on that is being part of the RESA buying group. I highly recommend it. That is one of the best, biggest advantages, benefits of being a RESA member. So definitely that alone is worth your membership. I highly recommend it. But yeah, our wholesale Buy Like a Boss wholesale class will walk you through all of that, gives you the forms to use and everything that you need to really get the best deal and buy wholesale. And that's buying wholesale is, we talk about it a lot because it is seriously such a key to being profitable in this business. If you're going to do vacant staging, you've just got to be buying wholesale eventually. Once you get past your first few houses, you've really got to move into that wholesale buying.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And even if you're doing occupieds and you need supplemental inventory in order to support some of these occupied listings that you're doing, most of the time you are going to use primarily what the homeowner has, but other times you're not. and buy your accessories in the smalls through wholesale. You're just going to save so much money. And because you're part of the buying group, we've eliminated all the minimums. So you don't have to buy 25 of the same lamp. You don't have to buy, 1,000 of the same pillow in order to get the wholesale pricing. So check it out. It's great for everybody. We missed a question up top and I can't find it, but I remember what it was about. Somebody was asking on contracts if contracts are typically for the first 30 days or 60 days, and is there additional rental after that initial time period is up? And I will say yes to all of that. Typically, it's 60 days on most stager contracts, and the reason you want to go 60 days is a couple reasons. Number one, if you need to get it through escrow, because escrow falls out, stuff happens. So if you get an offer within the first week, which we hope that the sellers do, they're going to start negotiating and they're going to get that ball rolling. And then let's say in 3 or 4 weeks, it falls out of escrow. You don't want to destage that because then the seller would have to stage it again. Or it could be like my house when I sold my home in 2019, and you could have a flood. And, it sold on day 7, it flooded on day 15, caused $42,000 worth of damage. I had to start over. So it ended up taking me a full 7 months in order to get out of that little fiasco. But it is important to keep it staged all the way until the contingencies are removed. So the first 60 days is your initial contract, and then you have a rental fee for any rental furniture or decor that you have in the listing after that on a monthly basis. Make sure you have a contract. I would also get a credit card on file so you can bill it automatically. That way you're not chasing money. What else can you add to that, Debbie?
So actually, we have found that contract has been shortening in this really super hot market. There are so many cash deals and so many homes are going under contract immediately. And so we are offering 30-day contracts. And I think a lot of stagers are having to move to that just to be responsive to the market. The market's always changing. We always have to respond to it and adapt. And so because some of those closings are happening faster. Now, here's the thing is what you got to do is say it is 1 day up to 30 days or up to 60 days. You don't tell them that it's staging for 60 days because then they're going to want to prorate, well, we sold it the first day. So do I get all my, most of my money back? No. It's 1 day up to whatever the length of your contract is. And so those are kind of some key words. There's so many little things like that go into your contract. You do want to make sure that you've got a solid contract. And again, that is included in the Staging Design Professional course.
Absolutely. So we are right at the top of the hour, 5 o'clock. I will say if somebody has one last question that you want to throw in that box, first one to get in the box gets their question answered.
This is great. We've made it through a lot of questions in a big.
We did. I told you, I said, we can get through this in an hour. I know we can. So if anybody has a final question you'd like us to answer, please go ahead and throw it in that chat box and we will be happy to stay on for a couple more minutes. If not, we will say thank you for joining us. The Home Staging Industry Awards, they are launched right now. We're accepting applications. So even though you are a newbie in the industry, if you've been in the industry for less than 2 years and you have some great work in the last year, please submit. It is really great to be able to be voted on by your actual peers. We have a top 10 list for every category. So you can be a top 10 Rising Star Stager of the Year for the newbie category for under 2 years. And then we actually have an overall winner for that category as well. So it's great accolade to be able to have on your website. You get a trophy, you get the whole bit, and we're going to make a whole big deal out of you. So definitely submit for that. And then also RESACon.
Let me just jump in and say, yes, what Shell is saying. You guys, honestly, submit for those awards for the industry awards. It is such a huge deal to be able to say that you were a finalist for top staging team of the year or any one of those awards. I mean, it is huge to your clients when they see that. It is, what better recommendation can you get than that? Plus, just being able to go through and vote on each of the categories, you will learn so much as a stager just going through the process of voting in every category, because you see what the kind of what the standard is, and you kind of start spotting, oh, they should have done that different. Ooh, but wow, what these people are doing, you get so much inspiration and learn from that. So I highly recommend being part of that, submitting for awards. We're so proud of so many of our staging studio students that have won big awards, lots of them. And it has been such a game changer for a lot of those, to really show that you've got these credentials.
Yeah. And if you don't want to grow, don't submit, because here's the one thing that I will tell you. I interview all the winners afterwards on a Stager Talk on our video podcast, blogcast. I don't know what we're calling them these days. And every single one of them have told me when they've won, their business just explodes. I mean, we got people that they doubled their warehouse space. They converted from just doing consults and occupies. Now they're in vacants. It's just, for some reason, it's a big boost. Not only, your clients see it, but the confidence that you get from that, from having won an award. I mean, that just makes you have all the warm feels inside, and you just grow. So I think it's a great program. So take advantage of that. And then also RESA convention. Unfortunately, we still got germs. It's 2021. We got germs out there right now. So there was zero way that I would feel confident in reserving hotel space, that I'd have to make the decision 5-6 months ago in order to have an in-person event. In order to pull it off, it takes about a year to actually plan these events. They're just turnkey. Once one ends, we're already planning the next one. So we are going virtual again this year. We're accepting applications for speakers. We have lots of great speakers. So check out RESACon when we start selling tickets for that. It'll all be online. You can either watch them as their designated times and then take part in the Q&A afterwards, or you can just watch everything afterwards. You can be sitting in bed at 10 o'clock at night and your husband's watching something that you have absolutely no interest in. You can put on your earbuds and your iPad and watch your session. So that's it. Replays are going to be available in 3 to 5 business days, and our team will send out an email to everyone who's registered, as I am being told. That's it. Debbie, it is always a pleasure. I love vibing with you, and you've always got such great information. And I just highly recommend, we have Facebook groups, Stage It Forward and RESA. What is the name of your group?
Staging Studio Society is our Facebook group.
There you go. So check them out. Check out their training. Again, y'all really don't know what you do not know. So please, it's implorable that you get training. One of the biggest problems in our industry is people starting out doing it as a hobby. And it's not that people that doing something as a hobby don't have a place in our industry. I think that they do. However, I would really want them to be a hobby and work with a professional stager, because if you're just doing it for the hobby, it really devalues the industry, because most of the things you're probably doing are probably not up to standard. So get some training, call Debbie, email Debbie, Facebook or carrier pigeon, whatever you need to do, make it happen. Until next time, everybody, thank you so much for joining us, and happy staging.
Thank you.